Subnautica is a pretty amazing game, but you don't need me to tell you that. The popularity speaks for itself. Even after being released for well over 5 years, this game has somehow managed to stay relevant, and as a result, it's earned its place up there with the greats as one of the best survival games of all time. But like many of those survival games, over time, the boredom begins to creep in, and you're left wanting more. A while back I made a video on Death Run. It was a mod designed to turn Subnautica into a living nightmare, and oh boy, did it deliver. Now some of you accuse me of being a masochist for subjecting myself through such a painful and mind-numbing experience, but the truth is the only reason I played the mod was because I was desperate for a new Subnautica experience. Part of the experience involved making the game difficult, and in that regard I'd say Death Run did a pretty good job. But what if I told you, we can do better? Now this video did pretty well. So like any greedy Hollywood executive, I commissioned a sequel almost immediately. I took note of everything Death Run had to offer and laid it all out in the open. A nitrogen system that affects exploration, radiation that seeps into the ocean, and a change so sinister, it can be attributed to the Internal Revenue Service. Okay, is that everything? Let's dump all of it. Nitrogen, gone. Radiation, gone. Expansion, gone. The entire fucking mod, gone. Remember a minute ago when I said Death Run did a pretty good job? I lied. Some of you weren't convinced that the mod was actually difficult, and went as far as saying that some of the changes added were actually more annoying than anything else. Now here's the thing, you're absolutely right. There's a fine line between difficulty and utter annoyance, a line which Death Run seemed to cross and not cross. But that's not to say the mod was entirely bad because of it. There were good parts, and that's exactly what I wanted to focus on this time around. So I booted up Subnautica 2.0 and downloaded a bunch of brand new mods, and this time around it was time to deliver an actual hardcore experience. Straight off the rip, we're not wasting any time whatsoever. The air on the planet is breathable once again, and I don't have to worry about my lungs exploding. Now one of the good changes Death Run made was the introduction of brand new crafting recipes. Some of these were questionable, yes, but they aided in providing a somewhat fresh experience. This time around the recipes have been altered to be more realistic, at least that's what the mod claims. I don't know how to craft a CMod dude, I can't verify this. The recipes are different, but they're a lot more manageable, and on top of that, certain items take up a lot more space in your inventory now. And yes, some of the new recipes include seeds from various plants. Now if you want to be a little bitch and complain that this isn't realistic, go right ahead. But me personally, I like this change, since it had me scavenging for plants that I didn't even know existed. By now you might have realized something a bit odd. Some of these fragments are out of place, and that isn't by accident. This is courtesy of one of the 3 mods I added, Randomizer. Randomizer randomizes a lot of shit. Too bad it can't randomize the chances of you getting any bitches. Fragment locations, data boxes, blueprint scans, you name it, Randomizer randomizes it. This mod is definitely one of my all-time favorites, since it encourages you to go out and randomize. The introduction of these mods resulted in me changing up my priorities very slightly, and had me looking and searching for certain materials I usually wouldn't think twice about. Now you're probably wondering, well, you said 3 mods and only listed 2, where's the third? Well, I'm glad you asked, it's right here. The Undisputed Goat, the one feature that carried Death Run, was the increased creature aggression. This feature returned a fair of exploration to the game. It added more danger, and without it, could you really call this game mode hardcore? I took a page out of Minecraft's book. The biggest difference aside from having 1 life was increased damage and more dangerous enemies. So this time around, I went all out. Aggressive fauna is everything that Death Run's creature aggression is, times 20. Customization, enhanced. AI, enhanced. If you thought Death Run's creature aggression was bad, well you ain't seen nothing yet. So here we are, a brand new world, and a whole lot of stress to deal with. My first issue was the Sea Glide. Normally you'd unlock the Sea Glide relatively quickly. However, since Randomizer randomizes the shit out of your fragment spawns, there's no real way to know where you can go to find each fragment. This results in pretty backwards progression, but it's a small price to pay if you want a new exploration experience. Ordinarily you only need to visit a select few wrecks to get some of the essential items, but with Randomizer, you kind of have to know where every wreck is on the map if you want to find virtually anything. Since I didn't have the Sea Glide very early on, I was forced to improvise, and this led me to find a new MVP of the early game, the Air Bladder. Nevertheless, the Air Bladder was only temporary, and after gathering some materials for a simple oxygen base, I decided to begin searching for the Sea Glide fragments. Plateaus, Bulb Zone, Grand Reef, Sparse reef. Nothing. Holy shit. Talk about a bad first impression. I had wondered if maybe I had made this mod a bit too hard. At this rate I was closer to unlocking the sea mod than the sea glide. But then I started to wonder. So many engine fragments. So many engine fragments in the shallows. Could it be? Could they have... No. Surely not, I thought to myself. Surely this mod did not screw me over so immensely. Surely there was some bit of empathy. Surely the sea glide fragments didn't switch places with the... Just fucking kill me. Attempt number 2. This time around I was able to find the sea glide fragments fairly easily in the grassy plateaus, and I started to pick up on certain things that would affect the way I traversed around the map. For one, stalkers are the absolute worst. Going through the kelp forest is like running through Africa with a bottle of water. This is due to the aggressive fauna mod, of course. The customization is really incredible with this mod, but it's also a shame that you can't change it on a per creature basis. In any case, the next thing I decided to do was pay a visit to the Gun Island. Like I explained in my last video, there's a crazy amount of resources on this island, but of course there's also a... But by now I had played this game so many times, and Death Run had made me absolutely battle hardened. It didn't matter if the Reaper could see me from a mile away, I knew how to counter him. Remember when I said aggressive fauna was 20 times worse than Death Run's aggression? Well, I wasn't joking. Tired of Reapers circling you for 2 seconds and then running away? Well, no more. Aggressive fauna's biggest feature is persistence. This is the AI of a regular Reaper, and this is the improved AI. It didn't matter if I could dodge the Reaper. As long as he laid eyes on me, he'd be forever bloodthirsty unless I managed to get away, and getting away wasn't an option considering the sea glide is pretty goddamn slow. This left me with 2 solutions. Avoid the Reaper at all costs, or find a way to fight back. Attempt number 3. For now I was just going to have to avoid the Reaper's territory at all costs. I unlocked the sea glide and most basic items, and decided I wanted to set up a base in the mushroom forest. This mushroom forest to be exact. Now I've never actually liked this mushroom forest, for obvious reasons, but with the new changes to creature aggression, this meant that this area was now the safest place on the entire planet. Safer than the safe shallows. After building a base, I planned a route for the wrecks I could easily explore, so I could set out and unlock as many blueprints as possible. But before that, I made sure to scan all the fragments in the forest itself. Now as you've probably noticed, there were a lot of bronze suit fragments here, but the main thing I wanted was the sea moth. But as the saying goes, be careful what you wish for. While scouring the forest like a dirty ass parasite, I saw something out the corner of my eye. There it was, a sea moth fragment. Alas, it was beyond the territory of the mushroom trees, and in the territory of one of these. But since I knew the rough location of the dunes wrecks, I knew if I followed the trail I'd find more fragments which would allow me to unlock that precious sea moth. The plan was simple, set up a base near the edge of the forest. If things went to shit, I'd retreat back into the base and hopefully the Reaper wouldn't try to fit its fat ass through all the trees. On second thought, it's getting kinda dark. Let's wait until morning.
Multiple Leviathan class life forms in the region. Understand? Whatever you're doing, please work acquired.
Unscathed, alive, and most importantly, sea moth. However, it didn't matter because I didn't even have the blueprints for the vehicle bay. Which of course means it's time to hit up those wrecks I talked about earlier. Bone sharks, sand sharks, and ampeels made this experience absolute hell, but thankfully the sea glide makes it easy to get away from them. My travels had taken me all the way from the bulb zone to the sparse reef, and by the end of all that, I'd unlocked blueprints for the vast majority of items in the game. Among those items was one particular asset that would help me tremendously. An item that would make the game 10 times easier, thereby eliminating any threat or resistance that was originally supposed to come my way. And it's for that reason I created Challenge 1. The stasis rifle has long been known as the most brain-dead weapon in the entire game. The moment you unlock it, every source of danger is immediately thrown out the window and the game becomes infinitely boring. The only solution to this is to either increase the requirements to unlock it, which is something Deathrun did, but even that didn't stop me from using my remaining 2 brain cells to beat the game with ease. It honestly blows my fucking mind that I crafted this thing in the previous video. If anything, I should have just ended the video the moment I crafted it. That way I'd be able to retain at least some dignity. So this time around I downright banned the use of the stasis rifle as a whole. And for some reason, if let's say the urges begin to bubble to the surface and I start experiencing withdrawals like a junkie on crack cocaine, I've made contingencies to ensure the stasis rifle stays buried deep within the sand.
That's quite big.
Perfect timing as well, because I was reminded that since I was planning on actually beating the game, I was going to need the Neptune rocket blueprints, which can only be found in the captain's quarters, which can only be found in the Aurora, which can only be found right next to her.
Good night, girl.
Ordinarily, I just swim through as quickly as possible or just dodge him, but remember, this is hardcore, and even if I did decide to go through with the risk, there was still a very likely possibility, that wasn't actually a possibility, it was more of a guarantee, that the Reaper would chase me back to base. Now me personally, I did not want to spend the rest of the challenge having to worry about some dumbass Reaper in the safe shallows. With no stasis rifle, this meant we were going to have to think outside the box. We were going to have to apply different strategies, and the strategy I chose was exploiting. A few months ago, while scrolling through YouTube, I saw something absolutely revolutionary. An invention that would change humanity and shift the space of time and matter as we knew it. I discovered a meme. Now this was no ordinary meme, and rightfully so. Why else would I be mentioning it when trying to solve such a complex problem? This meme was my ticket into the Aurora. This meme was the only reason this challenge was possible. Well, not really, but shut up. Behold. Now building a replica shown in this work of art was not going to be viable given the fact that I needed to upload this video within the next century. But remember, I mentioned an exploit. Fun fact about bases, if you build a base like this then extend it like so, then remove some pieces, it retains its power. So what if you were to enter the base, build out, remove the back end, and repeat? You can create a train. A worm of some sort. This was it. This exploit would allow us to slither our slimy ass all the way into the Aurora, while remaining unharmed throughout the entire process. The requirements were also simple. I just needed the materials for the base pieces, a lot of patience, and batteries. A lot of batteries. All of these were relatively easy to acquire except one of them. So I did what I do best and spent the next 5 years grinding copper, and after that, it was time. I set up the base a safe distance away and began shimmying my way over to the entrance of the Aurora. Day turned to night and night to day, and with each passing tube, the Reaper's presence grew closer and closer, until eventually I could see him. Look at this dumbass. For some reason Subnautica randomly has these really bad lag spikes. I know my laptop is kinda shit, but my god, please keep it together. After reaching a safe enough distance, I swam the rest of the way there and boarded the Aurora. I didn't bother to repair the drive core since I really couldn't care less about the radiation, and with the Neptune blueprints in my possession, I made my way back to base and proceeded to harass the Reaper as much as possible. I exited the same way I entered, and after reaching a safe enough distance, I fled the scene of the crime, never to return again. I got back to base and set my focus on building the prawn suit and Cyclops. This time around I wasn't building these vehicles for fun. I was absolutely going to need them to stay safe. Considering the fact that you'll probably run into like 50 hostiles on your way down to the lava zone, having a prawn suit is more than a necessity. It was a requirement. Especially when you don't have the stasis rifle. Now as you predicted, both these vehicles cost an arm and my kidney. But luckily for me, after crafting the scanner in my last playthrough, I had managed to learn an extremely vital skill. I had studied the scanner and used its power for all my conquests during the Death Run playthrough, and as a result, I didn't need the scanner, because I had become the scanner. Now I talked about how I needed the prawn suit to journey down into the lava zone, but what about the Cyclops? I mean, yeah, I needed a shield generator for the rocket later on, but why craft it now? Was that truly the only use I had for the Cyclops? The answer is a resounding no. The Cyclops was crafted for a specific reason, along with an upgrade that was going to help me out tremendously. The overarching goal might have been to simply beat the game, but that's merely for you all. I needed the Cyclops to pursue something close to me, something I valued very deeply. The territory might have been theirs, but God help me, Altera's technology was mine, and I was not leaving the planet until I had every last fragment. The dunes and mountains are the two worst places to visit on the map. Name one YouTuber you've willingly seen visit either biome. Well, actually... Exactly, you can't. To spice up my playthrough, I decided I was not allowed to beat the game without visiting at least one of these godforsaken wrecks. There are 3 wrecks in total, 2 in the dunes and 1 in the mountains. And since I'd already kinda half-assedly raided the dunes wreck, I decided to launch my assault on the mountains wreck. Mainly because I already had beef with some of the locals in that area. So with this in mind, I prepped myself mentally and fired up the Cyclops' engine. But first, we need to understand the task at hand. Here's a map. Firstly, we needed to plan our approach, and to do this, we need to analyze the dangers that reside around our objective. Reapers, ampules, and most importantly, tight spaces. Now obviously some of these are more threatening than others, so here's the plan. We'd stay as low to the ground as possible. Nothing could go wrong, right? Okay, never mind. We'd come in from an angle and ride the edge of this cliff, all the way down into the safety of this wreck. This allowed me to completely sneak past the first Reaper, and I began approaching the wreck. Once there, I made sure to tread very carefully, and I noticed a time capsule, data box, and a door. My mission was clear now. Retrieve the goods.
Yo, Pierre, you wanna come out here?
Passing 100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased. Passing 200 meters. New blueprint acquired. Please observe safety protocol CSP-21 before handling classified cargo.
Prepared to die.
Needless to say, that was the dumbest thing I've ever done. But it seems that by some absolute miracle, I had managed to make it out alive. Unfortunately, the encounter left my Cyclops battered, and my prawn suit, nothing but ash. That experience had taught me one thing. Whether or not it was by my own stupid design to implement dumbass challenges, one thing was clear. In order to beat the game, I was going to have to get down into the primary containment facility, and in order to do that, I would have to encounter leviathans that were unlike anything we had seen before. The persistence was going to be my greatest weakness, and I knew if I wanted to beat the game, I was going to need one item. Too bad we can't use it. The prawn suit was our only hope. It's okay, we'll make a new one. The journey through the Lost River and Lava Zone was not going to be easy. It was going to require precision, skill, and a sprinkle of luck. Because for fuck's sake, this gravel arm sucks ass sometimes. As you know by now, there are 3 entrances to the Lava Zone. Each one of these entrances has their pros and cons, but it doesn't matter because regardless of which entrance you choose, you're almost always going to run into a ghost leviathan. Let's talk about the Bulb Zone entrance. It's the shortest entrance, meaning you can jump straight into the Lava Zone. The problem? Good luck getting in. It's right on the edge of the mountains. The Blood Kelp entrance near the underwater islands. Absolutely not. 2 ghost leviathans, all of this shit, do I really need to say more? That meant we had one option remaining. The entrance between the dunes and Sparse Reef. Now I said dunes, yes, but there's actually no reapers near this entrance, so it's fine, don't worry about it. On top of that, this entrance is also the scenic route, so that makes it a no-brainer. So that's it, right? Problem solved? No. Depth upgrades. The depth upgrades for the prawn suit required nickel ore. The easiest way to get nickel ore is to go on the wall of this cave. The problem? We just established that this cave sucks ass. Fun fact about our chosen entrance, there is no nickel on the wall. And even if there was, under no circumstance did I want to spend any amount of time searching, for obvious reasons. So, is that it? Well, no. What if I told you, if you wanted to go deeper, you needed to look deeper? Too deep? I mean, look down, in this pool of green musk. It just so happens that the reason there isn't any nickel on the wall is because all the nickel has migrated to the floor. And with that, the plan was made. We'd approach the entrance with the Cyclops and the prawn suit. Yoink the nickel, make the depth upgrades, and then Spider-Man our way to victory. Nothing could possibly go wrong.
Engine powering down.
I set up a moon pool and vehicle console in the Blood Kelp Zone, and made the jet and depth upgrades for the prawn suit. But by now the Cyclops was on low power, and seemingly on its last leg. So rather than leave it to rot in the Blood Kelp Zone, I decided I would honor the glory of this great sub. I would utilize it to its fullest potential in my final sprint to the finish line. With the Karl cured, I made my way to the gun island and deactivated the weapon, and for the first time in ages, I got to work on crafting the Neptune rocket.
What is a wave without the ocean? A beginning without an end. They are different, but they go together. Now you go among the stars, and I follow.